Hey guys, quick tutorial on companions. First thing you gotta do is decide on what kind of playstyle you're gonna do, what kind of end game skill allocation you're gonna have for your main character, so you can decide early on at the very beginning of your playthrough uh, what companions to pick up. So at tier level 6 you could get 9 companions, and how you use them is very important. So for me personally, what I do is I keep myself as the quartermaster through Stewart, which is why I have this maxed. But Scout, Medicine, Engineering, I have 3 companions in my party. And that's the only 3 companions I have in my party ever. Just 3. One's a Scout, one's the Surgeon, and one's the Engineer. Now, I'm not going to get into the personal skills in this playthrough, but you pick something, you pick the right kind of choices here, whatever you want, and memorize that. Start your game. Right here, just span that place. Skip through all the tutorials. Then here, press N before you touch any of this. Go to Heroes. Go down to Wanderers. These are all the companions that just spawned in this particular seed. What you want to do is look for certain companions. For example, this guy, he's got Scout, and you gotta look at his other attributes. You want to make sure these are also going to complement um, the type of role you want him to play. So for mine, I think I have a Frostbeard as well as my Scout, um, and he's in the party too as an on-foot uh, archer. He's very strong. But you go through, you look for at least a few of each role. Why? Because so you want at least like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 um, companions that can play the role of a scout, they can play the role of a surgeon, and they can play the role of the engineer. Because they can spawn with terrible skill and attribute allocations that will not allow you to actually level up in any decent amount of time, or they could spawn with just terrible stats that can't allow you to level up the companion in a reasonable amount of time. So at spawn, at the game creation, just look over this list and make sure you have a few of each companion role that you're looking for. And if you don't, just exit and try it again. It takes me about 10 to 20 times doing this over and over and over until I spawn the correct list of companions I need. And that just means a few of each role. And that'll be the safest bet. So just keep doing that until you get what you need. Now, once you have your companions, for example, that's my wife, kids. Okay, here's a scholar. This was going to be my surgeon. So I had I think 3 or so in my playthrough, and yes, companions spawn over time as you play the game, and the list will grow to like 2, 3, or 4 times its size. But you still want some companions early on in your playthrough, so you have time to level them up. So this guy, I picked him up. I had a few options. This was good enough, really. What you want to look at is not just the medicine and intelligence, but rather secondary skills that allow you to level him up. Because I think at the time he was leveled like 9, now he's 16. And to get him some free levels, you can look at specifically smithing and steward. They level very quickly. So I saw that, okay, he had 4 in endurance, so smithing was plus 30, which is basically 30 free skill points, because all you do is smith a few things. If you have the money, you can buy expensive weapons and break them down and then craft stuff and level them even quicker. 30 extra free points, that was like at the time like half a level for free. Steward specifically is very, very easy to level. It's probably too fast in my opinion. Um, but this is beneficial is if you see him spawn with 1 point here and some intelligence. The learning limit here is 90. I didn't put any points into this. It's 90 learning limit, meaning 90 free points, really. And because Stewart levels so quickly, I could go past it to 106. So that's 106 free points, which was more than a level, like a level and a half. So between these two, that was 2 free levels I got very quickly. How did I level this so quickly for him? You just put him as quartermaster temporarily. Even though I'm personally the quartermaster normally, um, I just switch him to quartermaster. Level this up real quickly. It levels quicker the more larger your party is, and if you're an army, it'll level up extremely quickly. So that'll only take maybe a week or two of in-game time, which is extremely quickly, a few minutes. Um, got him to 106, then I switched him back to medicine. Got him those 2 free levels, which allowed me to put extra 2 points into here. Get him leveled as quickly as possible. Um, gave him weapons where he had room to actually grow. Um, he's got some room to grow here. He does not have room to grow here really. So I put him on foot, for example, give him a pole arm, um, so on and so forth. Let's see, next guy, more Frostbeard. Okay, so this is my scout. For this guy, he had already a good bow, athletics. So at the time, these two were pretty low, and this was pretty high. So I actually gave him a crossbow and throwing for a while to give him extra skill points, level him up a bit. Um, he didn't unfortunately have anything in Stewart, so you can see learning limit 0, so putting him in as quartermaster wouldn't have helped. No free points there. Smithing, also no focus points here, but he did have 10, so I might as well um, do some smithing with him, so I got him an extra 13 points for free. Only took a couple minutes. Um, but yeah, so that's my scout. See if on the spice vendor. Okay, so you can see 200 trade here. Um, Early in the game, I use caravans for money. Late in the game, I don't. Why? Because when you're at war, they can be caught, and they're not necessary in the late game. Once you have towns, putting them as governors will give you a better or comparable financial benefit from having them as a governor in your town. Plus, they give other military bonuses to the town and other bonuses of prosperity. So it's better to, in the late game, use them as governors than caravans. Now, if you're playing some kind of trade empire, then maybe with enough points into your own personal trade tree, you can run a lot of caravans for money. But in the late game, in the normal game, money, you just have so much money. Honestly, it's no point. Um, and besides, at 200 trade, you will get financial benefits of putting them as a governor in your town, as well as the military benefits that I'll go into in just a moment. So when I got her, wow, she's already 17. When I got her, she already had a few points into. She had like 80 or 100 into trade already. That's not necessary. Just happened to have the right kind of skill sets here. What I'm looking for really is, okay, she had no extra points in here. That's fine. Below her Stewart. She had 5 intelligence and 2 into Stewart. She spawns with 100 Stewart, I believe, and 100 trade. Um, but yeah, I got her an extra like 39 points for free. Um, Smithing got her extra 10 points for free. But specifically what I'm looking for in my caravans, soon to be governors or governesses, is 50 points in polearm, 50 points in one-handed, and the ability to get 200 points into trade. Why? Well, yeah, there are some better higher end perks in these trees as well, but really the minimum you need is just 50. One hand, 50 gives you governed settlements have increased militia recruitment by 0.5 per day. Make sure she spawns with this selected, or you level it up and you choose this one. That's half a militia per day as a governor. That's really good. Polearm, extra at 50, increase militia recruitment and governed settlements by 1. So the, these two give 1.5 militia per day bonus. That's a huge military advantage for your town security. So that's really good. And The trade-offs are you lose 1 or 2,000 gold or dinar per day by not having to run a caravan, but you still get some benefits of having 200 trade. For example, Governor. Every village party in your town generates 10 gold income, or Caravan generates 25 gold income. I'm not sure which one's better really, but if you have like 10 caravans coming into your town every day, that's, or even 5, I mean really that's 125 or 250 gold. That offsets the 1,000 you're losing from not having to run a caravan. But it gets better as you go on. Tariff income increased by 10%, workshop production increased by 25%, whichever one you choose. I chose tariff. I'm not really sure how they calculate specifically, but I know that would help. Maybe a few hundred, maybe a couple hundred dinar. Now you're up to maybe 450 dinar as having her as a governor. Then 200 is a really good one. Bound villages, grain, olives, fish, tea production increased by 20%. Or here, these increased by 20%, depending on which town you're putting her as a governor. I like towns with food because it increases the amount of food production brought to your town and increases the prosperity um, and the income. So this is huge, 20%. So 200 trade is the goal I'm looking for. I think more than makes up for the loss of 1,000 or 2,000 dinar per day in the late game that you're losing for not having to run a caravan, especially with the effect that you're putting her at risk from enemies capturing her. So having her safe as a town governess gives you financial benefit, but most importantly, 1.5 extra um, militia, which is really good. Here's my engineer. He's at 202 engineering. I think engineering levels a little bit too slowly, in my opinion. He's only got 5 intelligence, but even with that 4.46 learning rate, he should have this pretty much maxed out at this point, considering I've been sieging the entire map, and I've pretty much have the entire map under my control at this point, thousands and thousands of days into my playthrough. It's at the very end of my playthrough, and he should at least be near max by now, especially because I create 4 trebuchets, put them in reserve, 4 fire onagers, and 3 siege weapons, siege towers, in every siege, and still, he's not maxed, which is kind of weird. Engineering levels very slowly. Steward levels too quickly. Medicine levels too slowly as well. But we take advantage of the leveling speed of Steward and smithing for this guy as well, because when I got him, he was probably like level 9 or 10. And he had 1 point in 1 focus point to smithing, plus 40. Give him 44 extra points for free just by smithing some stuff. Takes only a few minutes. Steward, put him as quartermaster with food variety. And he had no points, no focus points in here, but he had like 4 points in intelligence at the time. So got him an extra 45 points easily as my quartermaster for just a few days, and that gave me an extra free level, basically level and a half. Allows me to put more points into engineering earlier on. So smithing and steward are nice little bonuses to have when you're leveling something else. And if you have free points into other things like a bow or throwing, and you have room to grow, um, might as well put a bow in his hand, give him some bow skills early on. I think that's what I did when he was like lower, or perhaps if you had some growing skills here, which you did not, but if you did, you give him a two-hander for a while. He'll level that up and get some extra skill points real quickly and level it much more quickly. Anyway, moving on. Brave. Brave. This guy started off with 0 trade, so now he's got 214. How does that work? Well, Brave, I chose him for the fact that he had at least 50 points into this and this. Why? Because he's going to be a future governor. Also found that he had good smithing and steward. 3 points in smithing, so I got him an extra 57 points right off the bat, real quick, which was like half a level or more. Steward, he also had room to grow here, so I made him a quartermaster. Got him some extra steward skill really quickly, easily. Gave him another level, allowed me to put points into trade real quick. Really, you'll need 5 points into this, and then run him as a caravan. He will grow so quickly in trade, and you just need 200. You can put a 3rd point into this, or if you have more than 2 here already, that's fine. It'll make it a little bit faster, but really, as you can see, he's 214 at 2. in social. So 5 points is all you really need. In fact, I have one with only 4 focus points into trade, and I think 3 or 4 into social, and they max out at 200 as well. So trade, very easy to level up when you place him as a caravan. And again, the reason I did this was because I want him as a governor. 50 points here, 50 points here gives me a 1.5 extra militia. Trade here gives me financial benefits and, of course, the added food production, which gives me added benefits to my town. Next, Polmark the Brave. This was a different one. This was going to be one of my party leaders. Um, he started off with 61 or 62 points into tactics. Tactics grow very slowly when you have a party. In fact, that's why I don't really bother trying to level this one up. I just find a companion with tactics already spawned. 100's the best, but this guy had like 61, which is good enough. And yeah, so tactics, this gives him 6.9%. At 100, you'll get actually 10% simulation advantage. None of the actual perks work, as far as I know, but this does, um, I believe. So I give him 5 Stewart. Normally don't do this. I like to balance Stewart and medicine, but I try to have like one of my party leaders with a big party. So this gives him an extra 53 party size. So he's got quite a significantly large party. I think it's like 160-ish. Plus medicine, which is always nice, because as he gets into battles, a few of his units will die. They'll just get wounded and he'll recover quicker. He's got some decent weapon skills and riding already. So yeah. And of course smithing, he has some room to grow, so I max that out. Extra 34 free points, of course. Stewart, you can level. I did in my party as the quartermaster for a little bit, and then I sent him on his way because he will level on his own as well in his own party, leading his own party. Alright, next, Spice Vendor. Here's another one with trade. 50 points into here, 50 points into there. Now she's a governor after being a caravan for a while. Same situation as before. I think I have 4 previous caravans that are now governors of 4 towns, giving benefits galore. Alright, Jelana the Wanderer. Oh, this is, I guess, my 4th one. This is my 4th. Same thing, 50 points, 50 points. Trade. Make sure the actual points are allocated correctly, though. Militia recruitment by 1, not this one. Make sure this one's in this, or this one. Militia recruitment by 0.5, not security. And make sure these ones are, well, these ones aren't the biggest deal, but yeah, I like the food ones. And find a town with actual food. Wanderer, this is one of my party leaders. I have 3 party leaders, my wife, the previous one I just showed you, and then this one. Stewart, for a little bit of party growth, size, medicine. This one's more balanced, so that she can recover quickly. And decent skills here all around, and 100 tactics, which is really nice. 10% advantage. There's my character, of course. So I don't have these 3 as I explained earlier. I just have Stewart. Here's my wife, 160. 16% advantage. It's huge. Great combat skills. And my 2 children, and back to Scholar. So there you go. That's a few tips and tricks on companions.